start with chapter 7. Chapter 7 is talking about classes. Okay? So let's take first a small example how to make a class, and then we can go to the slides. For the first time in Java, we will have a project that have more than one class. Okay? We have the main class and we have another class. So let's see how we can do that in Java. So you can create a project using your IDE. I'm using NetBeans, but same idea. Let me call this project account test 11, let's say, or any name. Yeah, I use account test before. One thing, when you make a project, Java by default make a class with the same name of the project. Yeah, not Java, like NetBeans, let's say. So I create one project now. You will see this project has only one class, right? So the name of the class is account test11, and it has a main method written for me. So this is supposed to be the main class, right? Let me close these classes, these from other things. So currently I have only one class, and you notice like the name of the file should be the name of the class .java, right? Okay, so this is like the main class, what I am programming in it all the semester so far. But now we want to do something else. We want to create another class. Okay, so how to do that in the same project? You come here, double click on this yellow thing, and you make Java class. Let me call it account. So I want to make a class called account, and I want to use, so this is the class account. Again, the name of the file should be account.java. So this project has two files. In each file there is a class. Yeah? And I want to use this class and this class later. Okay? So let's see how we can make account class in Java. So first you need to declare the class, and it's done for me by default in this IDE. So how to declare a class in Java? You write public. Public, like the class means public. In each file, if the class is public, the name of the class has to be the name of the file. Yeah? So this class is public. Class is a keyword how to declare a class, and here we choose a name. So when you choose a name, you can apply the same rules for identifiers, like the names should not start with numbers, it should be just one token. It include letters and characters and underscore, these kind of rules, right? But one thing to note about a class in Java, the convention is to make the class name start with capital. Yeah? And if you have more than one word in the class name, you should make it camel case, like account for employees, in case I want to make this, right? It's camel case. Now I get error because the name of the file is not the same as the name of the class, right? So it should be like this. So this is how you define a class in Java. This class is empty, yeah? طيب, we want to create a class account to represent the bank accounts, yeah? The class usually consists of three things. The first thing is called variables or instance variables. Sometimes we call them attributes. The second thing is called constructors. Third things are called methods. So in this example, we will just make attributes and methods. Let's make the attribute, which is the variables. I want to make just one variable for this account, simple. What do you think it is? Yes, what's your question, Hamza?
Doctor, are contributors like the if, then, else?
Sorry?
Are the contributors the if, else, while?
No. The attributes, you mean?
No, the contributors.
Constructor?
Constructors.
No, the constructor is something else. We will talk about it next lecture. Yeah? So I want to make now one attribute or one variable or one instance variable. What do you think is good variable for class account? The most important, no. Huh? It can be ID, it can be name, but I think the most important is amount. Yes, balance, right? The most balance, but you can usually in the account, real account example, you have maybe 20 attributes. As you said, account name, account number, IBAN, branch name, whatever, but amount is important. So in this example, we will make instance variable called balance. So how to define it? You write private. First, you can just define it like this, double balance. So here I define attribute inside the class. So every account has a different balance. This is what I mean when I say double balance. So every account should have different balance. But usually, like because of its instance variable or attribute, I should define it private. What the meaning of private? Private means I should not use it outside the class. Okay? So when I define instance variable as private, I cannot use it outside the class, and it's recommended to do it like this. Yeah. So all from now on, as a recommendation, all attributes inside the class, make them private. Yeah. So we are done with the first part of the class, which is attributes or variables or instance variable. Why we call them variables? Because they are variables. Why we call them instance variable? Because this variable is different from one instance to another instance. If I create from this account five accounts, 5 objects, every object has different balance, right? Makes sense? So that's why I call it instance variable. So it's based on the instance. Yeah. This variable is attached to each object or to each instance. Yeah. And why I call it attribute? Because it's an attribute. Like when I define account, the account has attributes like the name, the ID, the balance. These together define the attributes of one account. Yeah. Okay. So I'm done with the first part of the class. Second part is constructor. We'll learn about it next lecture. Third part is the methods. Here I want to create 2 methods. Methods also sometimes they call it operations. Yeah. So let me start with 2 methods. I want to make 2 methods. The first method is called set balance, and the second method is called get balance. Okay. How to define a method? Is it public or private method should be? Public. Why? Because I want to use them from outside the class. Yeah? Public, yes. It's private. If the variable is private, you can use it inside the class, inside the methods, no problem. But public because I want to use this method outside the class. Yeah. So I want to make set balance method. Is it void or return something? Void set, because set I will not return something, right? It's just changing the balance. Set balance I will call it. Does it take something or not? It takes, yes, it takes. If you want to change the balance to a new value, you should give this method the new value, right? So let me call it double balance. Okay?
Doctor, isn't it the same as the private?
Yeah, good point. So there is a balance here and balance here. They have the same name. Is there a contradiction? Why? Because this is local inside the method and this is like inside the class.
Because this is the parameter.
Yeah, the parameter. But the point now, if you say here balance, which balance you mean? Let's say you say balance equal to 5. Which one balance you mean? This one local,
Yes.
right? You see it's highlighted with the same. But how to access this one? You cannot access, right? Normally you cannot access because this makes shadow for the previous one, yeah? So to access the first one, what you write something like this, dot balance. This means you want the balance that is in the class, not this balance, yeah? So if you want to access this balance, you write balance normally. If you want to access the balance in the class, you write this dot balance, yeah? And typically, like if you want to save yourself from this headache, you just choose another name, right? But still, you can choose the same name and use this if you want to differentiate between them. Now, what I'm supposed to do inside this method? What I'm supposed to do inside this method? Yes, like set balance. I get a value of balance. I want to store this value in this balance. Yeah. So I should do this something like balance equal balance. And but he think I mean this balance. Balance. He means this balance. So I have to write this dot balance. I mean the value of this should be the value of this. If you call this method and you give me 5, I will store 5 here. Okay? So this is, I create a new method in the class. This method will change the value of the balance to the required value or to the sought value. Okay? This is the first method I did in my class. Another method I want to do, should it be public or private? Public. Usually, like the general rules is instance variable are private, methods are public. This is the general rule. Okay? I want to make get balance. Is get balance? Yeah. So it return what? Double because it need to return the balance. Get balance. So you notice the camel case here in the name, and you notice that the name of the method starts with small letter, while the name of the classes start with capital letter. Does it take something? Get balance? No. I don't need any information for this method. And here, what I should do here? Return. Can I write return balance or return this dot balance? Balance, because I don't have conflict here. I don't have a local variable with the same name. So if I say balance, I mean this balance. Yeah? If you write this dot balance, it's also no problem, but you don't need that. Yeah? You don't need that. So now I'm done with the class. So again, this is a class account. It has one variable, balance, and it has two methods, get balance, set balance. I'm done with this class. Okay? So now, let's go to our main class, where it has the main method. I want to use this class. How to use this class? First, because this class is in the same folder, I don't need to import it. It's in the same project. So it's already there for me. I can use it. Now, how to use the account class? So account, when you define a new class in Java, it's like you define a new data type. So which type we have in Java? Double, integer, string. Now we have a new type called account. I created that type, right? So you can create a variable of type account, something like this, account A equal to new account. Like this, it's like you created a new variable called A of type account. Yeah? So this variable, we don't call it like a variable. We call it what? Yes, instance of the class. But we call it what? No? Yeah, reference variable. Exactly. Very good, Sarah. We call it object, right? So this is like variable, pointing to some object of class account. Okay, because it's like you created a new account, real account now, A. So this A now, I can, if I want to see what's the balance of A, how to know what's the balance of A? How much money does object A has? Get. So what should I write here? A dot. If I write A dot, I will get these methods what I did. Get balance and set balance, you see? And other methods we'll talk about them later, but this is I did them myself. If you write A dot get balance, you will get this, right? So what do you think I will get? Huh? I didn't enter, but by default, what's the value you think? It's 0, right? Let's see if it's 0. I'm running now the project, and yes, it's 0. It's double because I defined double. If I want to change after I create A, I want to do to store some money in the balance. What should I write? Tell me what should I write? Yes, A dot set balance, and I give the amount I want, 100. Yeah. If I run it now, it should print 100. So now, what's the idea of this? I create account class, and from that account I create object. Can I create only one object, or I can create many objects? Many objects, right? So you can create another account if you want. Account A. You can create account B. Yes, this is like data type now. This is the name of the class, account. Yeah. Just 1 minute. B, you can do the same things. Like if you print now the balance of B, you will get what? 0. But if you make B dot set balance and you make, let's say, 200, so you will get 200, right? So that's why balance was called the instance variable, because here I have 2 instances of the class, or 2 objects of the class. Each instance has different copy of the variable. One has 100, the other has 200. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. What's your question, Mashal? Yes, but the IDE take care of this. Like as we said, after you create a project, you add a class to the same location, and the IDE will make them in the same folder. Yes. Okay. Yes. Not. No, only the attributes here private. So this is good question, Rawad. So if you go to A, if I want to make A dot balance equal 5, you see here I get error. Why? Balance has a private access. So I'm trying to go to the balance directly and change that value directly. But he said balance, you said it's private. If I make balance public here, I will not get that mistake. Now it's away. I can access the balance directly. But it's not recommended to have a public balance as a public. Why? Because the people can change it directly from here. And usually you should change it using a method. And inside the method here, you can check, for example, if someone wants to enter minus value, you should tell him, no, this is not allowed, or something, yeah? So you can make here something like if else to check whether the value the user is entering makes sense or not, yeah? So in this case, it's more safe to use private. We will discuss this later, like in another example, but that's why the variables, we make them private. The methods, we make them public. Why we make the method public? Because we want to use them here. Set balance I'm calling. If you make set balance private, what happens? You cannot call it here, right? But the idea of the method is to be called outside, so that's why it's public. Make sense? Any question? No. Okay. Let me go to the slide fast. So this is like summary of past. Like this is chapter 7. We will talk first about instance variable. I hope you know what instance variable is. It's like one example of its balance. Set methods. So the set balance is called set method because it changed the instance variable. Get method is example get balance, right? So in this class we wrote here, so he make the name. I make balance. So who said we should make the name? You are right and I'm wrong. So here in this example they make like one variable called name, but doesn't matter, same idea. So in my example I make balance, he make name of the account, but doesn't matter. Yeah. So he make it private. How to define a class? Public class, the name of the class. He define one instance variable of type string, call it name. He makes set name. It takes string, not double, because the name now is double. And he make this dot name equal name, same like what we did. And he make another method called get name. It returns the name, right? So this is the first class. So here is talking about class declaration, and the name of the class should be the name of the file.java. And he's talking about the camel case naming. We already mentioned that. And the class name should start with capital or small? Capital, yeah. It can start with small, no problem. It's not error, but it's convention, yeah. You should follow it. Okay. We have instance variable name, and we explain about that. So you can make the instance variable down the method, but it's not recommended. Usually we start in the class with the instance variable and then the methods. You can make the opposite, it's okay, but don't do that. Yeah. We define the instance variable up. Let me go back. So you see this class. So this, you see this? You can define it here. It's fine. But no one do that. No one does that. Okay? No, you can use it. Java will understand it. Will find it. Yeah. Don't worry about the order. So, but don't do that, Yani. Just here in the slide, it said you can do that, but don't do it. Yeah. So we created also set name. Okay. So set name was not static. Why it's not static? This is a good point. Do you remember static and non-static? Because when I call it from here, I call it on the object, right? Let me return it as public. So do you remember that this is a static method or non-static? This is non-static because I didn't write the keyword static. Because it's non-static, I cannot call it like account dot set balance, right? So I get error. Why? It's a non-static method. Yeah. So you can do that for static method. Doesn't make sense to call set balance to the account. Which account? You should give me copy of the account, instance, like object, whether A or B. You cannot tell me set the balance for the class account in general. Yeah. So that's why these methods are non-static. Okay. Because each object has its own methods. Yeah. So that's about this. Set and get, we talked about this to use it. If you have the same name, you can use another name, but also you can use this, no problem. We have get names. So just its explanation. We have some class called account test. This is the main class, right? Some people call it the driver class because it's the main class, yeah? So here we created account and we asked the user to enter the account and so on. He did the same thing like what we did. First, if you print the get name, initially you get null, but you can ask the user to enter a name and you want to store that name. So let us see the example. Here we created a new object of the account class and I want to print the get name. So normally we didn't store anything in the name. Because the name is string, by default the string is null. Yeah. Same like by default the double is 0, right? Here by default the name is string is null. Here we ask the user to enter any name, and the name what the user enter, the name, we want to store it in my account. My account.set name, the name. Clear? Yes. It's the name of the object, we call it my account. Yeah? Okay? And then after that, after you store it, you print it again. So you make system.print and get name. And you get the same name that the user entered. Okay? And yeah, so this is about scanner we know. This is how to create object. We use new, like account A equal new account. So this is also we mentioned. This we use the getName method. The initial value of the string is null. Initial value of the double is 0. So for the instance variable, if you didn't give them initial values, they will get the default values. Yeah. Set name we explain. Okay, this is something. Usually, when you write a class, there is something called UML diagram. Did you hear about it before? Where? Exactly. So in the UML, you can draw the class on the paper. Yeah. Like for example, the account class. How to summarize the account class? You have 3 parts in the UML. The first part is the account name. Second part is the instance variable. Here we have one instance variable. What's the name of that instance variable? The name is name. What's the type? String. Why it's minus? Yes, very good. Minus means private and plus means public. The third part is the methods. We have set name and get name methods. And here it takes name of type string, and this method is void, so it's not returning anything. But this method is returning string, so we write here that it returns string. So it's kind of some way to summarize the information of the class, yeah? And as I mentioned, like in the future, if you want to make a big project of 30 classes, first you have to draw the classes and the relation between the classes before you do the actual coding, yeah? It's like you make the blueprint of the building before you start building. Same things here, okay? So this is just talking about the UML, the 3 parts of the UML, the plus and minus, what does they mean, and the return type, how they can write it, and the parameters, and so on. So why we call the instance variable private? This is called information hiding. We are hiding the variable, and we will talk why we hide it in the next chapters, okay? So as a general rule, instance variable should be public or private? And methods public, yeah? This is the rule. So you see here, it's like this name is private in the middle, but you can get name and set name, use it, yeah? So if you want to change the name or get the value of the name, use set name and get name. Don't use directly the name because you are not allowed to use it. It's a private, okay? That's it for today. Any question?